Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to embark on the 2018-19 Rutgers women's basketball season, and coming to the podium right now is Hall of Fame coach Vivian Stringer, who is only 3 wins away from reaching a historic milestone. I just ask that you please raise your hand. One of our wireless mic holders will come over for you to ask your question, and we're going to go ahead and open up right to questions. And here is Rutgers women's basketball head coach Vivian Stringer.
Hi, Paul. I remember the first time I came here, and I remember seeing you. And now, at this point, that's special. Hello, everybody. We can open it up to questions if you'd like.
Keith Sargent, NJ.com. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Can you just talk about what the milestone, I know it's 3 games, I know you're a 1 game at a time type person, but what the milestone of 1,000 wins is going to mean to you? Does it even enter your mind? And just, how big of an achievement in your mind is it?
Well, quite frankly, I'll be happy when it's over. Because I was hoping that we could have gotten it done last year. I felt that we could have and should have. Except for a few mishaps along the way, but it would be good to get that over with. I appreciate the opportunity that I've had to coach so many outstanding players and to have the benefit of the great coaches that have worked so hard and diligently to allow us to get to this point. And so I'll be grateful, happy. It's something that I never thought about, and as you know, we will take it one step at a time. And I guess I never even thought about it. And maybe a lot of people would think that, wow, that's pretty special. And when I think about it, it's like, wow, that's a long time. A lot of people and a lot of things, you know. But that's about the extent of it that I have.
Yeah, you know me. Paul Franklin, let's say Trenton Times. When you were at Cheney, when you first started with Coach Cheney, did you have any sense of where your career was going to go? And I mean, how crazy is it that you're standing here with this?
No. The only reason why I'm stepping to the side because that light is killing me. Look, I was just grateful to play every day. When I first had an opportunity to coach, as you know, with that first meeting that I've told you about, and our department head asked who wanted to coach the volleyball team. I raised my hand quickly because I wanted to coach somebody and something, you know. And then they wanted to know who wanted to coach the softball team, and I raised my hand because I was excited. I just love coaching. I just love it. And then I was afraid, thinking that it would seem like I was being too greedy when he came to the basketball team, who wants to coach the basketball team next. And I was very hesitant with that, but in my hesitation, it was that I looked around and I didn't see that anybody else volunteered to do that, and I was like, I do, and it was so exciting. I could jump up and hug our department heads because that's what I really wanted to do, and to say the least, I can't even tell you how excited I was and continue to be, but in particular during that time, just to be able to rush home and study, and at a time there weren't videotapes as there are now, but there were all these really thick books by the great coaches of the day, and what they called a 7-Up Classic, and I would just look at that and read it and experiment with it, and just wonder why I was so fascinated and challenged by what I read, and not in my wildest dream. And really, if I thought about 1,000 wins, I think I would have stopped a long time ago, because it's not something that you do to count numbers. It's something that you do for passion. And with that, you don't even recognize the time that has passed and the things that have been done. And in fact, yesterday, I was going through my jewelry box, and I noticed that the University of Iowa had given me a pendant with a diamond and then the number 300, and I thought, wow, yeah, it was so special then, and I smiled then as I reflected on that. And so it was a milestone in my life, and I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of milestones here at Rutgers, and I'm just grateful, and never thought, not even one time, about anything great like that.
A follow, if I may. You've had some great teams starting at Iowa and here. Just to update things, what can you tell us about this team and about its potential?
This team?
Yeah.
Let me say this. This is the one of the more talented teams that we've had in a number of years here. But I should also tell you, because I see a number of our fans that really genuinely care, and I thank you for being here as well. But I also should tell you that we've had, I don't know why it's like the devil is sitting in the middle of the floor. And the reason why I say that is it's caused me to be very, very frustrated right now, because we have exactly 7 players that can practice and has been practicing for the last 3 weeks to a month. And the truth of the matter is that of those 7, 4 of them are inside players. So that means that we don't have the perimeter players. Most of the time they're sitting on the sideline taking notes, and how good is that? But the good part about all of this is that really in September, I had an opportunity to see them play. They are talented. This is a talented group. This is a very talented group, a very likable group. I thoroughly enjoy just being around them. I've tried to have them over the house so that we can, have a sleepover. They're a great group. They're funny. They're bright. They care about each other. They get along extremely well. But it's so frustrating because we have not been able to put anything together. So I was just saying to them the other day, there are so many areas of the game that we need to be able to work on, and we can't. We've never been able to start with 14 players in the last 5, 6, 7 years. We haven't started with 14. But look, if you got one the point guard who just got a screw in her arm about 2-3 days ago, you had another player that's KK. That's a point guard. You had another kid that had a dislocated elbow, and so she won't be available for another 2 or 3 weeks. You have Charisse, who is the person that scored a lot at Rhode Island, and I anticipate that she's going to help out a lot in the point guard. But when we were taking a picture just now, she hasn't been on the floor in the last 2.5 weeks because of what they call a grade 1 sprain. And then you've got the young lady that's a transfer from Ohio State, who has proven that she's an outstanding shooter, and that. But heck, she's only been on the floor about 4 times, 4 or 5 times. So it's frustrating. I'm really upset about this because I can't get a sense. They don't get a sense. And the truth of the matter is that while they're seniors or veterans, hey, look, keep it real. They don't have a sense of this system and what we're doing, and they haven't done it. And then to top it off, I don't have people that can show, for example, Zippy, who is, like, her eyes are open. She's trying to learn so many things, but she doesn't have anybody on the floor that's able to help her. Now, that's not doom and gloom, so don't walk away from here thinking that. We're going to rise, believe me. We're going to rise. I just need for us to prayerfully get well quick. But as you know, you can't just say Shazam, your arm's going to be healed, and the screw is going to, this happened some time ago, but they just decided that, guess what, it's not healing well enough, so we're going to go in and put a screw in there. So it's those kind of things that are very frustrating to me, and I'm sure that I haven't gotten all of them, because if we have 7 people on the floor, then that means that there are 8 of them just sitting on the sideline. And when I say sitting on a sideline, I don't mean 1 day or 2 days. I'm talking about weeks at a time. So it's a matter of the conditioning. It's a matter of rhythm and timing. This being a team sport is of great concern. What it does mean is that hopefully we've gotten rid of all of the bad things that can happen have happened at the beginning, and we will be fine later. And what's good about it in a positive way is that being fine later means that it would be different if we'll be healthy but still don't have the talent. We have the talent. That's what I'm saying to you. We have for once, we've got legitimate 3-point shooters, and a number of them. And I think some of you who may have been to the Midnight Madness watched the young lady, Noga Pelik, from Israel, end up winning the 3-point contest against the girls and the guys. She's a great shooter. hard-nosed, tough as nails kid. In fact, she's played with the Israeli national team. She's a great player, great competitor. Zipporah, Broughton, who is going to be playing some in the point position, but that's asking a lot from her. So with each and every one of them, there's great things, and the fact that we have so many seniors, each of these young ladies want to leave their mark, and quite frankly, we're still, if you will, somewhat upset, and better still, going to do something about the fact that we know that we deserve to be in the NCAAs last year. There were teams that were there that we had beaten. There were teams that we had a higher ranking in and that we played a tougher competition, but for some reason, we were not invited. So our mindset, especially with the number of seniors that we have, is that we will never, ever leave it to the decision of anyone. Our business is to take care of it and then leave no guess about who does what and how it needs to be done. So we're not going to cry over spilt milk, but every time that I step on the floor to practice, and that we're doing that, and certainly I see that with Stacia, with KK, as well as Vicky. Those are our three captains. They remind us every time they come on the floor that we will never feel the pain and the hurt of what happened before. And that's one of the reasons why I refuse to go to the WNIT. Enough of that. We did it once, and I'm done. We're not going to do it again, period. So we either make it or we're not. And anything less than that, we're not going to present that to the Rutgers community. I don't know anything about WNIT. It's great for the people that want to have an opportunity to extend their season, but not us.
James Cratch, NJ.com. Just to go back to the milestone, I know you say you don't think about it, but do you talk to your players about it? There could be some natural pressing, to get it done. And
the only reason that I, in my own mind, want to get it done is I've got a lot of family members that are coming from all areas of the country, and I don't want them to come up here for nothing. You know what I mean? And they can't get their money back for the ticket. That's real. That is real. Think about that. And former coaches that are coming from distances. So I don't want to disappoint them. But the idea of the 1,000, my family knows me well enough, and certainly my assistants know me, former assistants know me well enough to know that it's not about the numbers, just that I don't want to disappoint anybody. I just want to get it over with. But I am so grateful, and I thank God, seriously, that He's allowed me to do something that I truly love with all my heart and soul, to be able to do this and to feel good each and every day. So, at that moment, when we do win our thousands, you look up to the Lord and say thank you, because He's gotten me through it. And same thing with, I think about my husband and my mom and the people that have been so close to me, that are no doubt looking down on this special event, because it's not a lot of people that do this. I know that it's historic, but it's also overwhelming to me. I have never found the words, even still, to say what I really feel. I think about it sometimes, like with the Naismith Hall of Fame. I really have never, ever found the words to adequately say what I really feel. And so I'm at a loss. And it's much like when Phil Knight called me to tell me about the dedication of the building. He said to me, this is the first time I'm talking to you and you don't have something to say. And because I was like, hey, I'm going to give you, I'm going to dedicate this building in your honor. And I just couldn't say anything. I still can't. So that's what happens to me when I'm overwhelmed with anything like that.
Jake Osher of WRSU. Coach, obviously you're disappointed in the results at the end of last season, but to you, what's that one thing that you need to put the finishing touch on everything?
I'm sorry, you're asking what do I need to do?
Like, as a team going forward, falling just short of the NCAAs last year, what's that last thing to take that last step to get into the tournament?
Well, I mean, the first and last is that we need to win. As simple as that, and we need to be impressive. The Big Ten is not an easy conference, and you can tell by the competition that we've gotten ourselves involved in Vancouver. That's no joke. We're going to pick up South Carolina, Mississippi State, Notre Dame. Are you serious? You know, everybody would try to avoid that. Everybody would try to avoid that. But we've always subscribed to the notion that if you want to be the best, you have to play the best. But you also have to demonstrate that you have that courage, and it'll cause us to prepare in that way, because I would much rather prepare and find out where we're at, where we are as it relates to those higher echelons teams at the present, than to find ourselves shocked at the end. So games like that allow us as coaches to say, do I have your attention now? You know, so the things that we're talking about, it'll go back to the things that we need to do, and we need to rebound much better. We need to be able to shoot the threes much better. We need to play great defense, and we need to be able to pass. And I think that I see that, the willingness to really pass, because they're much more confident as they're passing to other players on the team. The people that they're passing to can shoot it. So it's not, you know, so to speak, one-dimensional in that respect. We have enough shooters. We just got to get people healthy and then find out what system can work best for us. So in past years, we've worked on a 55, and that's been really great for us. I don't know that that's the best thing for us now, and the only reason why I don't know is because I haven't had a chance to see what the quickness or lack thereof is on the floor, because we didn't put the 55 in. We haven't put that press in yet. They have been introduced to it. But to put that again, and we're always doing it practicing against the guys, so I would know whether or not, I can't even tell you whether it's going to work. So it's going to be a little experiment right there. But I'm driven by what happened last year. I really am driven. And it was interesting the other day, because I would tell them each time we practice whether or not we lost a practice. And so what do I mean by that? That means that every time we practice, if we don't gain something as a group, or if I have to be upset and have us do something other than constructive basketball, run or whatever, then we've lost something. And the minute that I say, oh, we're halfway going at this, and the only thing I have to remind them is, you know what happened last year, and it's just like right away it tunes them into what we need to do, because we can't afford to slack off at all.
Hi, Coach. Ralph, your radio guy. How are you, Coach?
How you doing?
Coach, Arella Garantis, you've had the benefit of working with Arella now for a whole year as she sat out in transfer. How would you describe kind of where Arella has come along, basically in her involvement and learning, and what your expectations are for her this year?
Well, I forgot to mention her. She's had a concussion. I forgot to mention her. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we're talking about real injuries. So she told me that she plans to be there. I don't know whether she means sitting on a bench or what. Really. So it's going to be major when she can help us, because we expected her at her size to be able to shoot, and we know that she can. That's why we are also anticipating that Sierra Calhoun, who lit us up, you know, when we played Ohio State. Those are two big players that are 6 feet tall that can shoot the ball. There's no question about that. But Sierra, I don't know when she's gonna be able to play again. And Arella has been extremely aggressive. She was aggressive in practice, went up, lost her footing, hit her head, and hasn't been able to practice since. In fact, when she's here at practice, she's been sitting underneath the bleachers so that the light doesn't get in her eyes. So I don't know how long that's going to be. But she's going to be able to give us that maturity. I know that she's driving herself to be the best player that she can be. She'll be out there, but it's going to be a while.
Hey, Coach, what did you like about Sharice Wilson? What appealed to you about her to bring in another point guard and the different things she adds?
Sharice is more in the image of those quick guards that Rutgers is used to having, and I say that because she's lightning quick. Her handles are tight. She's an excellent three-point shooter. She can get to the rim, and she does talk. You know, so I anticipate playing her as a 1 as well as a 2. If she plays as a 1, it'll take some of the pressure off of Zipporah, because Zipporah doesn't have anybody. Think about it. If CC and KK are injured and they can't play, she doesn't have anybody else that she can count on. So I'm counting on Arella. She's going to be a major factor, and aside from that, she's going to be a better rebounder too. So we've got the size. We've got the size this year. We've got the ability to shoot the ball. We've got the ability to push the ball down the floor at speeds. We've got it all. We just got to get it all by these guys getting well and getting on the floor. But the injuries that I'm telling you about are for real. And it's tough sometimes, you know, like, to keep my head up because I want so badly to get in there and just knock it out, and it's frustrating. And so sometimes I'll say to them, you know, like, somebody help. So I need, for example, Stacia and Vicky and these guys to talk, because whether we realize it or not, even though a number of these players are, you know, seniors or juniors, they are freshmen in this program, and you can't get around that. So, but I do believe that they're smart enough, they're quick enough, they're going to catch on much quicker than a freshman would, and they have the skill set. So I'm encouraged. I just got to keep plugging away, and hopefully one day I'll have two people stepped up. Cherie said that she thought she was going to be out there playing today, which I said, really? She said, yeah. So who knows? Thanks, guys. Make sure that you come out there and get people out there to support us. We're going to need it at the beginning. We're going to need it throughout, but I just want to say thank you over the years of the support. And my buddy Paul, he has to tell you, he's the one. I have to tell you this. Paul was the one that sat in that conference when I first was introduced to Rutgers. And I was, do you mind if I tell it? Okay. And I had just come from the University of Iowa, and I was talking about what I had hoped for Rutgers, right? And one of which was that we would have the great crowds, because we led the nation in attendance at the University of Iowa. And we had a number of national sellouts, if you will. And so I came believing that that is what is going to happen here at Rutgers. And Paul sat there patiently and quietly. And then afterwards, he said to me, what makes you think that anyone cares about Rutgers women's basketball? Yes, you did. You know that. You know that, Paul. You did say that. And so, you know, I just believe that when you build it, they will come. And as I was sharing with you, when we had like 25 people, when I first came, they used to have 25 people, and most people would come to the Iowa games to read the newspaper, right? But before it was all said and done, one, we were playing for a national championship. Two, there were 22,157 people that came to set an attendance record at the University of Iowa. The mindset of the administrators there is that our shoulders are broad enough that we can support both the men and women's teams, and the men's and women's coaches were extremely supportive, and the fans were extremely supportive of one another. With that said, I believe with all my heart, but Paul reminded me that we have so many pro teams that no one could really care about college basketball or football or any of the other things. But we've had some great crowds. But what does need to happen is, like anything else, we need to win, guys. We need to win. That's a long story short, and I'm not oblivious to that. But what I'm sharing with you, hey, let's get out here and support us. Do what the fans at Iowa did do. Not to put any stress on you, but I'm going to tell you this. It broke my heart because I was used to winning a lot. I just got finished playing for a national championship at Little Old Cheney with our 3,000 students against the University of Maryland and Tennessee with their 30,000 students and scholarships, and we didn't have that, okay? But when I went to Iowa, we had those beautiful facilities and all that. But like I said, they had no more than 25 or 50 people that were in the stands. But what broke my heart was when I read in a newspaper and it said, those young ladies are working so hard, they deserve our support. And I was thinking that they were just going to be dogging us because we hadn't won. I knew that we didn't have the talent. We were working hard. And as a coach, sometimes when we can't, like with football or anything else, just so you know, it's not the end result that you guys might see, but it's the pieces of things that do need to happen. So for example, what I took pride in is winning the quarters, various statistics, because we understand statistically what can happen and what leads to the ultimate. And your ultimate, my ultimate as well, is to, you know, play for a national championship or whatever. And so when I saw that, and I thought, man, I'm going to give it everything, which I always did, but I'm going to give it everything I could, because I couldn't believe that these people didn't turn on us. They were supportive. The guy from the New York Times came out to Iowa and he talked to me about the chicken or egg theory. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And we still debated that. But the point is that I'm making to all of you, and I said thank all of you, because you guys have been so supportive. You've always been, and I sincerely mean that. I thank you so much. You've had the confidence in us, and we've had some rough years, and some of you know some of the reasons that this has happened, right? But having said all that, what I am saying to all of you is that I have seen both sides of that. I've seen both sides of that. And no one is going to work harder than me, my staff. We're working our tails off to bring this program back to where we are used to having it. And with that said, and I've just told you the truth about the injuries, I'm saying, please be patient, be supportive. You can trust that if, you know, trusting that the arms will heal, the head will clear, and everything else is going to happen. We will rise and we will be back, because I am used to having great success. I intend to. I owe that to the fans and to the state and the people that are here. No one likes to be thought of as a second-class citizen, and if you think that I like it, you got to be kidding. I'm going to bust my tail doing everything I can. And so I'm asking you guys, bear with us for a minute. I'm glad when the thousands is over, but then we're going to get into the grind. Trust me, we got to get into a serious grind. We've potentially got what we need. All we need is people to get healthy and pay attention to what's going on. For our fans, you know, to come out there and support us, and to know that ultimately everyone can benefit by just being positive. And I thank you all. Thank you. Continue to support us. We appreciate it. Okay. Thank you.